I'm not going to hold my cards on this. I'm pretty geeked about this thing. This is the Enleum HPA 23 RMH. Now, this came in a bundle with the Modhouse Tungsten. I've been a pretty big, like, Bakun Enleum fan for a while. Had the 23R, had the DAC 21. Just always followed this company. I just think what they do is super cool. I think that they've got a like amazing attention to detail, and they like really get into some like interesting circuit design that like just really breaks the mold on a lot of things. And their fit and finish is crazy, crazy. I can't even tell you, like, the corners on this thing will cut you. Like, they won't cut you because they have the perfect, tiniest little radius, but so sharp, so tight. It's just a real nice object. But what is this object? It's a strange object. I guess it's portable. This feels like I'm not putting this in the pocket on my way to work. But it is battery operated. So you get all the benefits of being disconnected from the mains when you're listening. So very cool, even if you just use it as a desktop. But the form factor is not big. But there's no built-in DAC. So like portability is a little tricky, like genuine portability. Like when I think portability, I think on a plane, riding the subway, etc. But portable in your house, absolutely. Going to work remote for like a week or two, yeah, totally. As a replacement for your desktop amp, very possibly. And especially if you, like me, love big, crazy planars that need a ton of current. What do you do? What do you do? Well, I don't know if this is the answer, but it's an answer. And it's a pretty good answer. So we'll do the quick walk around, even though you've probably seen it, you probably know it. Very simple. You've got a voltage input. This is in your 3.5. And you've got a current input in your 1/4 inch. Battery indicator, volume knob, super like classic Enleum Bakun, super cool. They're little like scalloped. Anyway, badass. Gain, lower, high, round back. Not a lot of complexity back here. You can do your RCA's in. You got your USB-C. Thank you so much. Charging port, and then you have your little 3.5. And I think if this is plugged in, it takes priority over these guys. Just a little quirk. And then when you turn it on, one level is like just like, all right, okay, I'm ready to go. Blink, blink, here we go. And then it doesn't actually come on. You hear that second click until you like crank it a little bit past there. And then this thing is smooth and nice. And it's, you know, on a desktop, it's like, it's just great. The volume knobs on their devices are just always killer. Sorry, got a little froggy vibe tonight. Anyway, I'll give you like the overall highlights on the sound signature, and then we can go through 4 or 5 planars and talk about what's what. So sound, just overall characteristic, much like the Amp 23R, is a rich, full, saturated sound, but still with sparkly bits. It's a miraculous presentation. It's got that body and the tonality, but it's also got that little shimmer. It's definitely sweeter and maybe a little less energetic than some things like, say, my Z10E reference. There's an intimacy, there's a power to the sound, and there's also like a fragility that I love so much. I typically enjoyed the lower gain over the high gain whenever the headphone could support it. And remember, this is the RMH, which is the high, so it's an extra $300 on top of the $3,000 price point. So an extra 10% for an extra bit of current. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But powerful, rich. And like I said, I typically enjoy the lower gain in most pairings of headphones, but it was worth playing with. Like some things, like, and it kind of depends on music, right? Like if you're listening to something that's a bit more like beat oriented, like really driven, poppy, impactful music, then like the high gain might actually feel kind of good. It stages like very much in front of you, like sort of like very realistic. You're in a concert, like it's happening right in front of you. It doesn't give you the like super broad, wild, three-dimensional sound stage that some things do, but it also feels very honest, very natural. All right, so let's run through a few combinations that people are wondering, that people have asked. Susvara. Such a great combination in my mind because it gives this really nice, rich tonality to the Susvara. It provides some warmth and fluidity that the Sus just really needs. It's got this chubby, plump bass that is just not characteristic of the Susvara. And that little like super light, detailed ephemeral sort of bits that the Susvara are so known for, those still come through. Maybe not with the exact brilliance or sparkle that some other amps have, but still, it's delightful. It's so good. It's not like the most energetic or impactful presentation. So with, like I said, with like super like beat-driven sort of oriented music, some alternative amps might have won out for me, like on an A to B comparison. But just for listening at the levels that I like, I totally got away with the low gain pretty much all the time, and just really found it to be such a great match. So good. When you get like frustrated with this as far that you're like, why aren't you more human? Why don't you like music? And then you pair it with this, you're like, okay, I got you. Okay, Tungsten. So these guys, you recognize the sibling likeness. Yep. This is the pairing. These guys came together in a beautiful flight case, and I talked a lot about the Tungsten in a previous video, and I will link to that. It sounds lush, lovely, nice detail. I don't think that this fully takes advantage of what the Tungsten can do, because this is a power hungry mofo. And so when you hook it up to speaker amps and you just do crazy stuff, you will get another level of performance out of this, but you might not get the sweetness. There's a sweetness that these two make together that is really, really inviting. I will say this, like, you probably should have this thing on high gain when you're listening to the Tungsten, but low gain, volume fully pegged, sounded so good. For like 90% of music, it worked. It was great. And then you want to put on like, some crazy soundtrack with some like earth-shaking rumbles, and then you're like, maybe I gotta go somewhere else. Maybe I gotta put some more power on this bad boy. All right. Caldera, fan favorite, personal favorite. Lush, silky, sexy, smooth. Here's what I want to ask you. If you're going to put this headphone on and you're going to listen to it with this amp, are you ready to cry? Are you ready to shed a tear? Because you might. It's this golden, illuminated voices. It's probably lacking like a smidge of edge detail or twang. And for like electronic music or genres with a lot more drive, there are other things I like more with this guy. Because this guy, he's a little rich, he's a little lush on his own. So you could be in like a too much of a good thing territory with these guys. But I had some moments. I had some great moments. Not with me in person anymore, but another headphone I did listen to. with this was the Empyrean 2 from Meze. So we're just let's go through all the planars. It drives them like super easily on low gain. It's not a super hard giant planar to drive. Lush, lovely. Again, maybe too much of a good thing, possibly. I don't know. You could be the call of that, but for me, it sort of got to be a little too sweet on sweet, if you will. I brought these out recently for the Tungsten video, and people are like, oh yeah, that headphone, what's up? Yeah, that guy. So thought I'd bring it back out. HE6 SE V2. Boom, boom. Everyone will tell me these are not the HE6s. I know that. But they are very demanding to drive. A real pain in the butt. And again, with the Enleum, just a nice body, a fullness, slightly more intimate than they normally present. And so that comes at the sacrifice of maybe spaciousness that you can get from other amps. But definitely a more natural, more honest presentation than I've heard with other amps. Well, I guess the last thing I'd say maybe that's kind of interesting, probably not. So again, cool Bakun Enleum engineering thoughtfulness. 2 taps, voltage and current. Now, I didn't audition this ampy thingy majigger with a ton of like easy to drive headphones, which might have really loved the voltage side. I was mostly listening to planars, which are more oriented toward the current side. But I did get to experiment with the Empyreans because they are actually like pretty easy to drive for a giant planar. And so it's kind of fun to go back and forth between voltage and current and sort of understand what those characteristics were. The voltage definitely had a little bit more energy, a little more pop in the mids. And then current had more bass and a smoother, more refined presentation. So voltage sounded a bit punchier and crisper, where the current sounded smoother and a little more natural and refined. You know, one pair of headphones, but a nice little, like one pair of headphones that actually could straddle the 2 options. So it's kind of cool to hear how they responded to these different styles of output. So anyway, I love this thing. I think it's super cool. Again, it's very hard to define it. It's very hard to figure out what to compare it to, where it fits, how you would use it. But like, if you love big planars and you don't want to be tied down to a desk, like I did actually like take this down to the living room or listen to it on bedside table at night and stuff. Cool opportunities to listen to big giant planars in a way that I'm not accustomed to. So if that sounds compelling, and you like that sort of Enleum sound that I've been describing, and you see value in, you know, being able to have something that's a bit more portable and less of a headache to sort of own and live with, I think this thing is super cool. All right. Gushing done. Signcraft. Sign it out.